Hey, what's up everybody? Another walk and talk today, another comic walk. Still trying to get that cardio up for San Diego Comic-Con, and quite honestly, I think it's going pretty well. I'm still huffing and puffing while I walk, but maybe not as much. So anyway, today I'm gonna talk a little bit about Marvel Comics, only because I've been doing a lot of DC talking, so wanted to mix it up. Also, it's a bit of a crappy day. A little windy, a little rainy, no sun, which actually isn't a bad thing because it's a lot cooler on this walk than it usually is. I'm not sweating my family jewels off today. Anyway, so like I said, I want to talk a little bit about Marvel Comics today. So one of the reasons why I talk less about Marvel is because I like DC better. I do read quite a few Marvel comics every week, and I enjoy quite a few Marvel comics every week, but generally speaking, I like DC better, and the reason for that is simple. I find that when I read a comic book, it's like a bit of escapism. It's a distraction from everyday life. So when I read like a DC book, like a Superman or a Green Lantern or something like that, it's like larger than life, you know? It's like an epic tale of something that like I can't be. I can't fly. I'm not getting a super powered ring, right? But with Marvel Comics, it's just too much, for me anyway, of people whining, complaining about their own problems. I don't need to see Peter Parker down on his luck. I got my own stuff going on. I don't need to read a book and feel like I'm dealing with their problems too. Same thing with like the X-Men. I think they're the biggest bunch of whiners in comics, and some people might relate to that, and that might be a draw for some people because they can relate to all these problems that these characters are having, and it gives them like a sense of connection with the character. But that's not what I'm looking for when I read a comic book. Like I said, I want it to be an escape, a distraction. I want it to feel larger than life. And when you read some of the comic books of Marvel, they're just like, that Parker luck again. Like, who cares that you have a crappy life? We all have a crappy life. Go punch Doc Ock. That's the way I look at it when I read a comic book. And with the X-Men specifically, oh my God, what? It's so, I find it so boring to read about this group of superpowered gods that are just constantly complaining that they have awesome powers. Like, bro, you can take cards and you throw them and they blow up and it looks cool as heck. You have like Wolverine, healing factor, sick looking claws, but you're bummed out about it. I don't know. I just find that like not fun to read. And even some of their other characters too, like Daredevil, who is one of, if not my favorite Marvel character. He's another one who's just like a sad sack all the time. And on top of him being a sad sack, I gotta watch him go to church all the goddamn time too. It's like I just don't want to read that. Fight the Kingpin. And I'm not trying to hate on Marvel, though I kind of am hating on Marvel. Lost my earbud. It's just that it's not as fun for me. And there are some books that are just great. Like, I love the first Civil War. I thought that was really a great comic book, one of the best out there, maybe of all time. I might put that on my list. But I don't know. I just feel like that's the biggest issue with that type of storytelling that they're doing. And then they do a lot of cosmic stuff, which generally is pretty cool and I like it, but they just have a way of making it feel super boring sometimes. Like, how many times has Silver Surfer got to tell me Galactus is coming? Like, and if Galactus is such a big deal, 4 dudes with shitty powers aren't going to be the ones that stop it, but they do every time. So, I don't know, these are just my random thoughts on Marvel Comics. I say 4 dudes with shitty powers for the Fantastic Four, although this current run, I think they're on like issue 6 or 7 or something. I'm actually liking quite a bit. It's a lot different than the usual Fantastic Four runs that they've done. So actually check that book out if you want, if you are in the mood for Fantastic Four, because it's really different and I think a lot better from what they normally put out. Another character I have very little love for is the Punisher. The current run again is interesting, I guess, because it crosses over with Daredevil a lot. But I don't know, like, my superhero shouldn't go out just killing people, and that's the whole plot of that book. I just find it less interesting. It's a lot easier for a superhero to just go ham and kill all the bad guys than it is to not do that, and I think it's lazy storytelling. Although with the Punisher, when he's Cosmic Ghost Rider, I find that really super awesome. They do a good job with that story. So, like I said, there's some things they do really well with their cosmic stuff and their characters, and there are some things that are just too inconsistent for me, and that's why I struggle sometimes with Marvel. Not to say DC is perfect or any comic publisher is perfect, but I find DC to be I don't know, for me anyway, more entertaining. The characters are more iconic. They're more epic in scale, the stories. So that's my take on Marvel. That's why I talk about DC more than Marvel, because I just like it better. Yeah, like I said, not to shit all over Marvel, because I do like a lot of what they put out. I just think they're more inconsistent than DC is. There was a few years ago where Marvel was really just alienating their fan base because they replaced all their main characters with new versions, and I'm not against new versions of characters, but they just did it full scale and they did it too quickly and it wasn't received well. I think the only character they've replaced or added that I really like is Miles Morales. But, you know, they replaced Banner as the Hulk with Amadeus Cho. Couldn't care less. You know, they replaced those characters like that, and it's... People said it's for an agenda. I don't know if it was. It might have just been as a refresh to the line, and it didn't work. And if it's because they had an agenda or because they just wanted to try something different, it doesn't matter to me. I just didn't like it because I want to read about the characters I like. Now, DC is doing something very similar right now. They do have a new Superman, John Kent, Superman's son. And I like that character a bit, quite a bit. But I liked it better when he was still a kid and Superman was raising him. And it was interesting to see that growth of Superman as a character where he's raising his son. But they aged him up to be like 19 or something like that. And now he's just another Superman. It's far less interesting to see that version of a Superman. Clark still exists. I read the books with Clark as Superman. I read the books with John Kent as Superman, and I like them. But again, it's still that same kind. I think the only reason John Kent is more well received for me is they didn't just get rid of Superman Clark for it. So that's a better way of doing it. I mentioned in a different walk about Yara Flor, a new Wonder Girl, and I think she's a terrific character. I really, really, really like that character, and I think it's also because Donna Troy still exists, Cassie Sandsmark still exists, so we still have the other Wonder Girls plus a new one who's very interesting. It adds to the mythos without deleting what's already there. So that's, for me, the way to introduce new characters. And again, whether it's for an agenda, because John Kent is part of the LGBTQ community, or if it's because Yara Flor is a person of color, it doesn't matter to me. They introduce them in the right way. and then adds to the overall story of Wonder Woman, of Superman. I just like it better. There's ways to do things that work, and I think DC hit the mark on it this time, whereas when Marvel tried, they didn't. And again, I don't know that either company is doing this for an agenda or not. They may not be. It may just be to refresh the lineup with younger characters. But it works when you don't alienate or ignore what already existed. That's the way I feel about it. So, anyway, thus for me is the difference between Marvel and DC. And I do want to say more positive things about Marvel to keep it a fair and balanced review of the companies. I think Marvel tries harder sometimes than DC does. And what I mean by that is they were the first to try replacing new characters. They're the first to try and incorporate new elements. And it doesn't always work, but at least they do try. And I think that's a positive thing that DC could try more of. And they are starting, but Marvel got there first. So, and again, there are some books that are just fantastic, and there are some that aren't. I mentioned the other day the Color series, Daredevil Yellow, Spider-Man Blue. And those are great. A lot of their one-shots like that are very good. So yeah, there's stuff out there that Marvel puts out that I really like. There's some stuff that I think are really a waste of time, and I feel that way more about Marvel than DC. But if you go to a local comic book store, or you have a Comixology app, or whatever way you like to consume your comics, I wouldn't say skip out on those Marvel books, because there are some real good ones. You just got to search a little harder, in my opinion, to find them. So, I'm recording this on Monday. Probably won't go up on the Monday, but when you do hear this, have a great week. Thanks for walking. See you later.